Time management is a lie. Go ahead and try it. Tell time to come in early or stay late. See if it listens to you. Can you actually manage time? I don't think you can. Hey, I'm Rob Foglia, author of Real Estate Reset and with Real Estate Reset Coaching. And here's the thing, I help real estate agents find balance in their lives while remaining productive. Today, we're going to talk about not time management, but energy management and how you can get the most out of your business by working your business plan to create the life that you desire. First things first, before we even get into time management, here's the thing. If any of this today strikes a chord with you, do me a favor, head over to calendly.com/RER coaching. Get on my calendar for a free 30-minute coaching consultation. I want to help you do more than just make business plans, but also make some memories. So here's the thing. Time management can be a great thing. Well, at least the concepts of it, right? Things like time blocking, putting things on your calendar, that's fantastic. And yet all too often, what ends up starting as great intentions of trying to keep a structured, disciplined calendar usually ends up looking like some random painting of colors all over the place, because the reality is, as agents, we have trouble saying no. We end up overcommitting to things that we kind of sort of care about instead of going after what really matters to us. And so that's what we're diving deep into today, that it's not time management, it's energy management. Now, there are a few core concepts that I talk about in Real Estate Reset. Now, if you're not familiar with the book, I take you through the be, do, have aspect of being a real estate agent, how you can define the life that you want, how it starts with mindset and being the person that you want to be, and then taking the actions that that person does, so that way you can have what that person ultimately ends up getting. But it's so much more than just those overall general concepts. And today, we're going to actually start with some of the later concepts, the have aspect of it, because that's what tends to help the time management aspects fall into place. And the first thing is defining that perfect life that you want to have. There's a concept that's out there called Ikigai. If you haven't heard of it, it's a great book that was written a few years back about basically all of these different civilizations around the world with the people who have the longest lifespans, that live the healthiest lives. And what they found in this book was honestly pretty genius. The reality was they found 4 overlapping things, that if these 4 things overlap, it becomes your Ikigai. And those 4 things are what you're good at, what you love, what the world needs, and what you can be paid for. And here's the reality, and I don't mean this in a bad way. The reality is, for most real estate agents, selling real estate is not your Ikigai. It is not your life's purpose. It's not why you're on this earth. And that's okay. Like this, it can be a great way to make money, and I'm all for you making money. In fact, that's what I teach through my coaching, is how you can make money in real estate without this taking over your life. So this can be something that you can be good at and what you can be paid for, but it might not be the thing that lights you up, and that's all right. But what ends up happening is, as real estate agents, if we're not managing just our energy, and then we let our calendar just get overrun by all this real estate stuff, well, what ends up happening is that we lose our energy, and then we lose the energy to go after the things that actually matter to us. And so the first thing you got to do is define that perfect life. What is it that actually matters to you outside of real estate? It can be a purpose, something you have deep in your heart, deep in your core, that you just wish you had the time and energy to go after. It could be, obviously, it could be family, it could be a nonprofit, but it has to be something bigger than you. Honestly, it probably needs to be something bigger than your family. It needs to be something that matters to you, that's something that feels like the reason that you were put on this earth. That's got to be something that takes precedence for you. That way you can have the energy to go after that. And the cool thing is, when you put energy into that, it like renews itself. It's like one of those perpetual motion machines, right? Where these things keep going, because the cool thing is, when you're putting energy into it, you're getting energy back from it because you just love doing it. Like for me, I can only speak for myself. I can't speak for anybody else. For me, you can see behind me, music. I love music. These are not just on my wall because I'm in Music City. This is not just some fancy Zoom background. No, I love music. I love to play and create music. That becomes my Ikigai. And so the more energy I put into that, the more energy I get back. And I find weeks where I don't have the energy and to put into that, and it's like a downward spiral. It can be a constant upward trajectory when I'm just constantly creating music because I feel great doing it. So first thing, you got to define that perfect life. Then the second thing you got to do is you've got to live selectively. So again, we don't have a time management problem because we can't manage time. We can't tell it what to do. We all have 24 hours in a day. We all have 7 days a week. We all have 365 days a year. Well, 366 on, one out of every four, you get what I'm saying. But the reality is we all have the same amount of time. You can't manage time. You can't tell it to come in early. You can't tell it to stay late. You can't manage time, but you can manage your energy, and you do that by living selectively. So what I want to encourage y'all to do is start saying no. Start saying no to the things that don't fill you up, that don't make your soul light up like it's a million candles going off at once. If it's not making you money and it's not just enriching your soul, say no. That's okay to do. In fact, it honestly takes courage to do that. You got to take courage to say no to the things that aren't going to pay off for you, either financially or just from a holistic standpoint. And then the third thing, and this kind of takes us back full circle to be, do, have, right? Be is about mindset and creating the person you want to be. Well, you got to have the right mindset to do that. And to me, that right mindset is developing a mindset of having determined contentment. And what I mean by that is, like, think of those two words. They're almost like a dichotomy. They just almost clash, right? Being determined is, people think of that driver, that person who's not going to stop until, they get from point A to point B. No matter what hell is in their way, they're going to get to point B. Whereas contentment is almost the exact opposite, right? Where we might say, hey, we're at point A and point A might be cool. I'll be content with that. You've got to be content with your now. You've got to be content with the B, but you got to be determined to get to where you want to go. And that's just the ultimate balance there of what I'm trying to get at with determined contentment. And so get out there and define the life you want, and then start saying no to the things you don't want, and then be determined to get to that life you want. Be content with where you are right now. I think it was Bill Gates who said that we overestimate what we can do in 1 year and we underestimate what we can do in 5 or 10 years, right? That is 1,000% true, and it's even more true when we look at it at a smaller scale. Like, we overestimate the changes we can make in our life in 5 years versus 1 day. Like, imagine if you started making positive changes in 1 day, and you kept doing those and compounding them every single day for 5 years. Where could you be in 5 years, right? It's amazing to think about. And so the reality with this is, you've got to be content with where you are today. If it's day one here, you got to be content with it, and then just be determined to keep moving forward and forward and forward until you get to day 5, year 5, not just day 5, but year 5. Point being, and all I'm trying to get at here is develop that tenacious mindset. Be content while doing so, and go after the things you care about. Guys, if this is resonating with you, do me a favor. Head over to calendly.com/RER coaching. Schedule a free 30-minute coaching consultation with me. I help you do more than just develop business plans, but make memories along the way as well. Thank y'all so much for your time. Again, Rob Foglia with Real Estate Reset Coaching. We'll talk soon.